State Line Records is teaming up with Generation Exit Records and 31 Records to kick off the summer with one of the hottest splits of 2025. Experience the raw power of Generation Exit's newest EP, Stay Alive. And with all the fury of Mark Lind and the Unloves, the oncoming storm. On June 6th, Austin meets Boston to scorch the earth when these two juggernauts collide. Pre-order the 12-inch vinyl now at StatelineRecords.com and prepare yourself to stay alive for the oncoming storm with Generation Exit and Mark Lind and the Unloved. Alice, one of the things I wanted to ask you is like, so I found you on Threads.
Yeah.
It was when DIY lobotomy kit was like I don't even think it was pre-sale yet. I think
it was like early days.
Yeah, you were like talking about like it's just about done, and like you seemed real enthusiastic about it, and I was like, let me check out the Bandcamp, and I did, and I liked the singles that you had on there from prior, and I was like, all right, we'll wait for this, and then it dropped, and it was awesome.
Thank you.
It's a big one. It's 19 tracks.
Yeah, I think I had a lobotomy making it.
Yeah, no doubt. So I want to talk, before we get into the album and stuff, you seem to be pretty good with the social media. And I know you wrote like an article or a blog about like how to promote your stuff on Threads, right?
Yeah.
So what got you interested in that? Like, how did you learn this? Was it all trial by error? Did you go to school for like social media marketing or anything?
I didn't go to school, but I started out as an artist in general. I did a lot of photography and ended up building my business off social media. I'm just finding new customers. I've never paid for ad spend. It's just been learning how to do it over the course of like 6 years.
Mm.
So I guess I've just kind of gotten the hang of it, trial and error. You know?
Yeah. I hate social media so much, but it's a necessity. Like you need it for if any kind of like small business or art or whatever.
Yeah.
And I had someone helping me for a long time with the social media, and then because I gave up, I'm like, I don't need this, and then I realized I did.
Right.
So so I ended up having like someone hopped on as like a producer, and he was helping me with the social media for few years, and then I just recently kind of took it over the past summer because he had gotten sick. So I was like, all right, I'll figure this out, and it's like it's a chore. I have to set myself alarms to remember to post. Like I don't even think I'm posting enough, to be honest with you, but I try my best. But I have seen a little bit of a growth from it. You know what I mean? Like I picked up little tricks. Like typically, like if it's I'll tag the first like video clip. I'll tag the artist as a collaborator, and that usually helps get a few more people in on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people sleep on those collabs, but they make a big difference.
Yeah.
I send them out all the time and get ignored. I'm like, all right, F you then.
Yeah, so that's happened too. But I also realized like I was tagging everyone in like all of them, and I'm like, all right, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe because I don't want to, because you know, you think about like some people have their feed set up a certain way, like their page. You know what I mean? So I was like, maybe I'll just do the one introductory one, and then I'll just tag them normally so they can share it in their stories or whatever. You know, so that seems to be the best.
Well, collab me up. I'm here for it.
Yeah. No doubt. I will. I'll do all of them. Yeah. So, so that's just something you just kind of picked up on over the years from having a business.
Yeah. Just a lot of failures, you know, like all things, the more you bash your head into the wall, eventually you're going to go through it.
Fair enough. Yeah. Now, how long have you been making music?
Oh goodness, most of my life. I started in high school, got enrolled in a music education course. They had a guitar class, believe it or not, and got really into it. Ended up getting a scholarship to college and studied musical theory, classical performance, classical guitar major. Totally sucked the soul out of it, but I learned a lot.
Yeah. I think that's when things when hobbies or passions become business, sometimes it definitely loses a little bit for you, you know?
A little bit of the magic,
Yeah, just a little bit.
And everything there was like math, you know? But now I know the rules and I like to break them.
That's what, I mean, I've been with writing because I write, and like for a long time I wrote like mostly screenplays. And I followed the structure of like there's like a screenplay Bible they call it, and like you follow the structure, but then like probably about between 5 and 10 years ago, like all the rules got thrown out. Like there's no rules anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just do your thing and make your art, and if you can make it, whatever. You know, if you can make it a film, you can. If you can't, whatever. You have a good script. You know, so
Right.
so I'm sure it's similar.
A friend of mine, we were having a conversation a long time ago, and I had like an epiphany from it, but we kind of came to this conclusion that like the great art, the true artists, the people that really excel and do things incredible are the ones who know the rules and break small ones with intention, and that's where it becomes the art. Like you can follow the formula, but the things we regard as real art are the ones that broke the rules. Like even like Van Gogh, crazy ears and shit. Like nobody did that,
Right.
but
Right.
they remembered it.
That's true. That is true. That's the one thing I know about Van Gogh is the crazy ear thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what I do with my music. I follow like the formula, but then I break it with intention, and it's worked pretty well so far.
So I try to think, like I was trying to drum up like how like you have so many different genres that you touch on. I'm going to use a term I saw on your Instagram, genre fluid.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect term. Like I'm always like multi-platform, and I'm like, well, okay, but like that doesn't sound like, to me when I say platform, it almost sounds like too I don't know. I don't want to say professional, but like too
Stuff.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I like that genre fluid. I know a few artists that play in the same world with that. So let me ask you, when you're writing songs, do you write, like, do you sit down and go, all right, this is gonna be this kind of song, or does it kind of take over from the bare bones? You know what I mean? Does it take over as you're writing, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. Mostly I just kind of match the music to the words. So I love poetry. I love writing poetry. And most of it starts from scribbled out notebooks. And then I go, okay, what's this sound like? And I don't try to like limit into one thing. I mean, it's always alt rock or grungy or somewhere in that category. But like, you know, if it needs a pop flavor to pull it off because it's really upbeat and happy, we're going to do that. Although I don't know the last time I released a happy track.
No doubt. Growing up, like, what did you listen to? Does the art reflect like the music you listen to as far as like genres?
100%. And I grew up in that late 90s Y2K post-grunge era. You know, we had Soundgarden and Nirvana on the radio and Marilyn Manson and all these great pioneers of their own genres. Real unique icons of music. And I don't know if there's still a lot like that anymore, but I can't get away from it. That's pretty much all I listen to.
Yeah, there's so many. I'm because like, all right, so the whole thing of the podcast. There's a couple things. The podcast is mainly, I started this thing because I was feeling uninspired as a writer, so I wanted to talk to other artists of all different types of like art, and then it moved into this music thing.
Yeah.
So like I will say, so the other side of the podcast is like I'm always out there looking for new music. So is there stuff like that old grunge? Yeah, there's definitely awesome like new like grunge bands that are current that have that same style from back then. But
Nice to meet you.
yeah, you got to really look for them though. You know what I mean? Like it's. So I that's why this podcast kind of became the music one. Like it's because like I want to be able to showcase that for people, and like because like I don't know how many times I'll hear somebody be like, oh, they don't make good music anymore, or like, you know, that
You're just
nothing.
not looking, man.
Exactly. I'm like, don't be lazy. You can't be lazy. Like, I mean, granted, we don't have the like the MTVs anymore. We don't have terrestrial radio. Doesn't get weird like it used to in like the 80s and in mid 90s through the mid 90s, but like you can find things, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So that's
what it all boils down to, is the press, right? I mean, we look at the icons like Nirvana, for example. Huge cult hit, but why? Because he was always on a camera saying something weird and stupid.
Yeah.
It wasn't because the music was freaking phenomenal. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't like, you know, master class.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he was Kurt Cobain was even like, he kind of like talked down about his music and then talk about the Melvins a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like he tried to get like these other bands. That's something I see with like Dave Grohl does that a lot too. He's a big promoter of like up and coming bands. So I wish there was more of that in like the mainstream industry. I don't see it as often, you know?
I think a lot of artists right now are living in this fear of, oh, I'm not an influencer. I'm not a content creator. I'm a musician. Okay, well, that's good for you. But if nobody ever hears you talk or passionate about your music, then who the hell are you?
Let's talk about that. Yeah. So, because I was looking on Rocket Rebel Records.
Yes.
And like you kind of have these like kind of guides on there on like how to do this thing, and like there is a portion of it now like where you do kind of have to promote yourself and you gotta get out there, you know, like I'm from the old school, like self-loathing artist all the way, you know what I mean? But like that's not how you get things done anymore, you know. It's you know, but and I don't do that because like I try to like, you know, that isn't a tactic, that's just what I am. But sometimes you have to think outside of the box and kind of take yourself out of that and then do the self-promoting thing. Like that's why this podcast just started doing videos this year, like videos nonstop. And like I'm like, it's tough and it's a lot of work, but you got to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like I'm trying hard. Like for me, it's different because I'm trying hard to promote everybody else. And like that's the biggest thing for me is like I don't give a shit about me. Like I only want this podcast to keep going and to get bigger for the artists. And like so that's my approach. But you do but like with my own writing, I have to go out there and self-promote it. And it's tough. So how do you approach that? Like how do you kind of get over that part of it and just make yourself get out there?
You know, I just started doing it and I had fun with it and I found a way to make it my own, and now it just cause chaos, right? And I'll pin my music at the top of the page and then go piss a bunch of people off. That's my thing.
Okay. All right. I can see how that could work. Yeah.
Works out pretty good.
Yeah. That's awesome. Do you is there a persona you have to put on to kind of get out there and do it, or no?
I think it depends on the artist. Like, obviously Anarchy is not like my day-to-day self. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it does come from a place inside of who I see myself as one day.
Right. I think all of that has to, right? It has to be some part of you in there that you just pull out, you know?
I love talking with the fans and meeting new people all over the world. I actually have fun with social media. I love it. And I've gotten really into film as a side effect. I'm now working a lot in film production and things of that nature, and it all stemmed from content creation.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that came from like social media and content creating.
Yeah, people saw what I was doing, these weird edits. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was making artistic things. Next thing you know, they're like, hey, I want like that for my business. Can you come make that? And I'm like, sure, we'll give it a go. You know, now I own a $6,000 film camera. You know, it escalates.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But you said you've also, though, with the camera, you also said you did photography for a long time too. Like that's an art form. And that's a tough one. Like I've had a few photographers on and like, cause like they're amazing. Like a lot of them that do like show pictures and stuff, and like just how they're able to capture moments like that, you know?
Yeah.
Is there like a part of that, like is there a with photography, like is there a specific kind of lane you stay in, or do you go all over the place with it?
I was in fashion, so I got some recognition in that world. Specifically, I did a lot of color gel work, so we'd use colorful lights. And I'd make people blow, you know. It's technically something you're not supposed to do, but I did it because it looked cool, you know, and now it's kind of a thing that people come to me for specifically.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
But like I said, great art is breaking rules with intention, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now, how did you get involved doing like photography? Was it just on a whim, or?
Just interested me. I'm highly ADHD. I get bored easy. I was avoiding music for like 10 years. I've been recording in the background and didn't really feel confident enough to release it. So I was looking for any other form of art that would give me that same kind of joy. Never found it, and here we are again.
Yeah. It's weird, like different art forms, you know, you can still get something like out of it, like that thing inside of us, right? But it's not whatever your like main focus has always been, and there's reasons behind it, reasons we probably cannot explain why, you know what I mean, like why it's music or why it's writing, or you know. So I can see how at least you tried to like you stayed in the same world, which is cool, like being creative. Like I stopped writing for years, and I just like, I don't know, I just did like, oh, I'm just gonna be a miserable asshole who works all the time, and like
I did that too. I was in sales and like all kinds of junk I didn't want to be doing, shooting weddings. And I got let me tell you about a horrible experience. Pick up a camera and go to a wedding. Good Lord.
I know. I feel like my aunt did when I was married. My aunt did my wedding, and I was just miserable the whole time because I hate being in pictures. I was like, can we hurry up? Like I'm just, you know what I mean? I was just It's just like, I don't want to do this. Like, just walk around and take pictures of the event. I already know what I'm doing. I want to know what everyone else is doing when I'm not around, you know?
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Try being a photographer and nobody wants to take their picture.
Yeah,
I'll see
yeah.
you.
So tell me about the music. Like when you weren't making music, like why did you stop? Was you just like what made you feel like? Because for me, it was just like, all right, like mine has to deal with all sorts of like trauma, childhood trauma and stuff, and me being like, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. But like, what about for you? Like, what was it for you?
It was college. It was majoring in it. It turned it into math and
Oh,
an
that's right.
obligation.
Yeah. So you just kind of lost it for a minute.
Yeah, I went into hair.
Yeah.
I worked as a barber for a while and was really good at that. And then I moved into sales because the guy I was cutting his hair, I guess I sold him so much product. He was like, just come work for me.
Ah.
You can obviously sell.
Yeah.
And, I was making 6-figure checks back then, but I was miserable.
Yeah.
My cuss on here.
Yeah. Luckily for me, I'm in my I don't even want to call it my career. I just call it my job. My job like has such a wonky schedule. It fits what I do. Whether it's creatively or like going to shows or whatever. So I'm fortunate in that space. But if that was like my only identity, like I'd be like, I try not to I feel like when it comes to our creative, when it comes to anything we do creatively in our identity, like I don't even want that to be like, I don't want my writing to be my only identity or my podcast to be my only identity. Or like when I talk about mental health, I don't want people to think like, because I do an episode and know what I'm talking about. And I talk about like, a mental health issue I had. Like, I don't want people to think that's just who I am, but I'm trying to be as transparent as possible to for other people. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
But it's tough to kind of keep that balance. Cause like, I feel like I'm, like I say that I'm like, oh, I'm just a simple dude. But like, I look at everything I do and I look at how I'm really not that simple, but
Right.
at the same time, like, I'm not like, I don't want to be any one thing either,
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I'm very multidisciplinary. Like, I don't know. I just do things and they tend to turn out good, but I don't want to just do one thing the rest of my life. That sounds freaking miserable.
Yeah. I feel
Even like that's how you become irrelevant, to be honest.
Yeah. I always had a thing about like being stagnant, and sometimes it's not even being stagnant. Just because things are working out like one way, I shouldn't have to like, my brain is like, ruin this and go do something else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not even like, that's not like, sometimes having being comfortable in something doesn't mean you're stagnant, and I always thought that way. So I always like bounced around with things and did different things and went different places and moved.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? So now I have a 401k and I'm like, oh, I'm like, should I just cash it and just drive off into the sunset? Just
Right. But then you just still come back here with your downtime.
yeah.
Because you're like me, you're an anarchist, right? Just
Yeah, I
like,
guess. Yeah, just like it's just everything. Yeah, chaos is good. Chaos is good for me. And
oh yeah. I think that's why a lot of people are resonating with my music too. Is it's a lifestyle. Like you get it. I think a lot of people think most people are just white picket fence, dog, die. But
Yeah.
I don't think most people want to live that way.
I have my dog. I bring my dog everywhere. So.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, I got a big old boxer.
Nice. I had a bull mastiff that traveled the country with me.
Wow,
It was
a
awesome.
big dog too.
Yeah, she wasn't like, I mean, she was a big dog, but she wasn't as big as like most. She was only like 70 pounds, 75 pounds. It was manageable to drive around the country with her. You know what I mean?
Right. That would be fun.
So, all right. So tell me, when did you start this? When did you decide like, I'm going to start putting out music and releasing music? And was that recently, or because like I feel like you just had like, you dropped like 5 things in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I've got so much backlogged from my lifetime of like being nervous about my music that now I'm just cleaning it all up. So
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to do, but I think I started last June releasing all my music.
Okay. Was that Vicious Delicious? Was that last June?
Actually, Bandcamp's not updated. There were 3 albums before that.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
I actually have 100 tracks out
Holy shit.
with this new album that I just announced today.
You've been busy.
Yeah, well, it's more just like the stress. You know, life's been crazy, but the one thing I always do is come back to the music and make something almost nightly because it just calms me down. Now I'm just releasing that demon to the world, I guess.
I do similar things. Like if I'm off and like, especially because I work overnights. I've always been an owl though. Like I'm always working at like.
Yeah.
I know half the reasons why I didn't work out at certain jobs for myself is because like I can't sleep at night. So like I'm like super tired and I'm like dragging around and I'm miserable and mean. And so I started working nights and that seemed to work better.
Right.
When everything's quiet, I need to keep moving. When there's birds chirping and like people yelling at each other, that's when I can fall asleep.
Oh, I love that. I'm a night owl too. And I swear to God, there's something magical about the night. You know, nobody's calling my phone, nobody's texting me wanting things. It's just me and the music and silence.
I was gonna say I think most of our conversations happened late at night. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no cars honking in the middle of my track. You know, it's just like perfection.
Yeah. So when did you decide? Like, I'll close my notebook like a jackass. Rocket Rebel Records. When did that become a thing?
So that's a funny story. I started that just kind of a dream to merge like photo, video, and music into one company. I'm still building it, you know, and it's kind of turned into more of a production house tailored to artists, like musicians. But nobody would give me a shot, so I just started releasing my own music. And I said, I'll show you bitches how it's done. And here we are.
I mean, there's a lot of people that do that. Like Henry Rollins does that. Like that's how he started his publishing company. No one wanted to publish his writing, so he's like, I'll fucking publish it myself.
Right,
you know
I'll
what
show
I mean?
you. Now I'm turning myself into a rock star. I'm like, do I even need to make anyone else one?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. So, and then through there, because it's, I don't know. I don't think it's like a typical label thing because you offer, like I said, you offer these like advice about how to get yourself out there. It's almost like it's like a I don't know, maybe not a production company. Is it? It's like a production company.
Yeah, it's
almost.
a production house basically.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And like you help artists too. It seems like with those tips and everything. And
yeah,
I was actually reading the one you wrote about Threads, and because like. I'm always like, how do I get this shit out there? Like, I use those stupid hashtag things, and I can't stand doing that. Like, it's a pain in the balls. You know what I mean? I'm always like trying to figure out how to do things simpler, but with like the most exposure on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, so kind of like with Threads. I mean, Threads is like a Twitter, but not as toxic anymore. You know, like Twitter, the old Twitter. I feel like the old Twitter had this
still pretty toxic.
Yeah, well, the original Twitter had such a huge like podcast community, and I felt like that was all I saw in the algorithm. So that was a little bit different. But then, like, yeah, when Elon took it over, I started
it's just a propaganda machine.
I started seeing weird shit, and I'm like, I'd report it, nothing. I'm like, all right, well, I don't need to be here. You know what I mean?
Basically,
yeah.
I wrote a song about him. It's pretty vicious.
What song was that?
Woke Mind Virus Parasite.
Yes, I was just listening to that right before. Yeah, that's one of the ones that just now is that a recent you wrote that recently or?
Yeah, that released I think a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Now, when you write, is it lyrical first? Is it the poems and stuff first, and then you kind of feel for the sound, or do you hear sounds? Like, because like I know people that write, they'll hear like a guitar riff, and then they'll write that, and the last thing they do is lyrics, and they don't, and like they're great lyrics, but like they're like those are throwaway. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? You know? So like, how does that work for you? Do you hear the sound? That's my problem. I can't write songs because I don't hear the sounds.
No, I feel that.
I'm like visual and I can like, the words and stuff like that. But like, I don't know how to, my goal is to write a song so I can end the podcast. The podcast ends when I figure out how to write songs. So
there you go.
Yeah.
I start with the lyrics because they're poems first, like very Jim Morrison-esque, like everything's in a notebook and written down.
Mm-hmm.
I go kind of crazy with them. Like some of my lyrics, if you really listen, they're just completely unhinged and they make zero sense to anybody but me. But from there, I kind of like hum them into a melody and then, okay, what does this need under it? And then I start stacking layers. And it makes my music more unique, I think, because it's not just 4 bars repeating over and over, A, D, E, A, D. You know what I mean? It's more just based off where my voice wants to go with it. So I kind of just make the music fit it.
I got you. Yeah. I like that. My problem is like when so first off, the things I am the least good at, I seem to love and want to do the most. I don't know why. That could be a metaphor for like my relationships too. I don't know, but like
relatable.
I'm always like when I listen, I love music so much. I'm like, what? And I write constantly. I'm like, why can't I write a song? But I think about I think I overthink the process. Even when I write, like the times I've written poetry, like it's so elementary because like I just can't get out of my head on like how it should be, and like I'm super wordy at times. Like I'll write stuff, and like I always said when we make with like writing film, like writing a short film is so much harder than writing like a feature long film because you have to get everything you need to say condensed within X amount of pages.
Right.
Where like I can build and build and build with the other ones. You know what I mean? So I've always had a problem with like the shorter things. So I'll write something. I'm like, I'm gonna try to write a song, and the next thing I know, it's like way too long, and I'm like, this would be a good treatment for a song, you know, like, so I guess like, I don't know, like, so how do you shorten that? How do you get, cause you said, I mean, some stuff you said is longer than others, right? But like, how do you decide when you have to cut it and when you don't?
2 minutes, 30 seconds.
The song, that's it.
So if I hit that point, I ask myself, does it need to go on?
Yeah.
If I have nothing new to put on the track, we've hit 2 choruses, 3 choruses. I have nothing creative to add to it. It's done.
Okay, fair enough.
Then I'm gonna have a song that's 20 minutes long that's not released yet.
So let's take a sentence. How do you say you write down? You have the sentence in your head and you write it down and you're looking at it. And now I might be being selfish here, okay? But we're gonna roll with it. Now you see this sentence and you're like, I want this to be like, this is what this song is gonna be about. But like, how do you? It's like sometimes you just can't. I just can't find the words that will help it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's a metaphor or whatever. Like I can never like. So what do you do? Like, is there any exercises that you do or anything like that? Like writing exercises you do to kind of keep fresh on that?
Not really. I just kind of.
I'm just a
been
dumbass.
Natural. Like I can just vomit words out. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I can probably write 10 songs in a day on paper. It's
weird. You
weird.
write 10 songs a day?
I probably could. I don't do that anymore. I never keep that, but
I used to be like 500 words, minimum 500 words a day. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be anything spectacular. You know what I mean? But just 500 words a day just to stay on top of things.
right.
Yeah.
And I do it a lot on when I social media post. I cross these things a lot. So like I'll try to write something creative, like a little blurb, something to entertain the audience, and then that's like, oh, that's a song. Today I posted a bit of a lyric as a post. I'll do that too. And I said, "Hey everyone, welcome to the shit show, basically. And I'm your patron saint of the unwanted in a Barbie doll display." And just weird stuff like that. Or if I say something weird, I'll write it down. Sometimes it gets slapped into another song.
So you're saying like just put it all out there.
Yeah. Just keep going, talking, writing, whatever feels comfortable at the time. Just record it, track it.
Fair enough. All right, so let's talk about DIY Lobotomy Kit.
Yes.
This beast of an album, 19 tracks. 19 tracks concept album.
Yeah.
So
kind of insane.
Did this start, like, did you know you were going to write a concept album, or did it kind of like a couple songs where you wrote kind of were fitting so well, you're like, okay, now we can do this?
It's kind of an accident. I don't know what to call it, and then I think I accidentally called it a concept album, and all of a sudden my threads blew up. Like, everybody was like, concept album?
Oh,
We're here
really?
for it. Like,
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I should probably flesh out the concept more clear to the audience, because they're all concept albums, in all honesty.
Everything
has a
album
freaking
is-
concept
yeah,
around
yeah.
here.
I mean, across the board, unless someone's putting out like a single collection or something, you know what I mean? But like, I always find, because I'm a storyteller, like I'll find things in albums, and necessarily not necessarily in like, you know, in what some people will term like what a concept album is. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be that to have an overarching story, right? So
Right.
yeah, so everything, yeah, you're right. Everything does have some kind of a concept, and usually it's a reflection of us or a situation we've been in, or you know.
Yeah, and one of the interesting things, actually, you're getting an exclusive here. I've never told anybody this yet. DIY Lobotomy Kit is the story of my life and how I ended up as Alice Anarchy. And so the genres, the fluidity of that's me.
That's you
moving
throughout
through the
the years.
last 10 years.
Yeah.
And some of those songs are 10 years old. They're just redone. And so that's why it kind of shifts. And then you see it ends in that vicious metal, the bonus track. You won't
Right
break
after like
me.
an acoustic track.
Yeah. It's like I
love
found
it.
peace, and then I was ready to shut up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot.
So if you go and listen with that in your head, you're like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense. But
I think I could feel that vibe throughout this. Like, this was like, you know, it's and there's a lot of like, you know, I feel like there's some undertones that fit today's world too, that are like, you know, like, well, much like the Elon Musk song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know, so I get that a lot. Yeah, I dig that. I dig, and you know what? Now that I think about it, like listening to it, like there like the genre fluidness of it, like it does jump a little bit, right? It goes back to something else a little later, and
Yeah, the beginning's like heavy rock, like alt rock, and then it goes into just sludgy grunge and
Yeah, like
like
radio, almost
acoustic.
like alt rock, like radio rock, like
Yeah,
stuff that if it came out in the '90s would be on the radio.
I would hope so. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. No, I definitely felt that. Yeah, it's a good album. It really is. And again, like you at the time when I saw you talking about it you did it right on Threads because we weren't following each other, and all of a
Right.
sudden Alice Anarchy pops up, and I'm like, what's this all about? And I was like, let me go check out because whenever I see anything that says Bandcamp, I'm like, let me check out their music, and I go and I
Yeah.
look, and like one person was on there one time, and they were like, should I even put this on Bandcamp? I'm like, unless you really like Fractions, yeah, I think you should,
Right.
And they're
I was
like,
pretty like avoiding of it, or I avoided it for a long time because I don't know, it just didn't feel right. I grew up in the time when what was it? There was another one they had. All the independent music, people put stuff on there. Nobody would ever buy it. It's just like a ugly website, and so I was kind of jaded to that. I can't remember the name of it, but
trying to
doesn't
think.
matter.
I'm trying to think. I sounds familiar, like
It might even have been Bandcamp.
I'm old
in the
enough.
early
I've been
days.
around since the internet started, so
This was like MySpace days, yeah.
yeah. So this is like post Napster, probably during LimeWire, but when you could actually buy music.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
no, it was just MP3s, right? It was just like an MP3. Like they didn't even offer like waves or any other files. It was like straight MP3. Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, and I hated it. It was like it was a lot like Bandcamp, but it wasn't like what it is today.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of success on Bandcamp so far. I've been on there about a month, and I've made $120.
That's good.
Yeah.
I don't. Bandcamp is once they sold to Epic Games, like it was a little bit like people were, they got rid of their union people, and like it was like sometimes I have to draw a line in what I'm boycott. I can't boycott everything. Like Bandcamp is the only place where I can go where you're gonna get at least 80% of the sale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't like Spotify. I think Spotify, I don't like the sound quality on Spotify. So like I got rid of that. So yeah, I just use Bandcamp, and if I can't find it there, I'll look on iTunes. But like, I'm a physical media guy, as you can probably see behind me.
Yeah. Nice little collection.
But like whatever way I can to support the artist is like the max way I'm going to go. Even if that means I got to buy an MP3 download from their website because they don't have anything physical.
Right.
I'll still do that if that's the only way I can get them. You know what I mean? So
yeah, well, I need to get on that myself. I think so. This next one I'm releasing is 2 months out, so I've got plenty of time to do that. But I release at such a fast pace, I've just not even had the time.
yeah, you do. Is now from like I guess right now it's because you just started releasing all this stuff like recently, so it's good to get it all out there because so people have options.
Yeah.
But at some point, are you gonna like slow down the releasing to like kind of fit like a schedule, like a
Today, actually.
today
Yeah.
you made that decision?
Yeah. So the next album's called Trash Baby, and it's a trans femme like focused album, and it frankly it rips. It's like Nirvana if you had an attitude.
Yeah. Okay.
It's pretty good.
Where are we at here? When is it releasing?
June into
June.
June.
End of
So,
June. End of June. Okay.
Usually I just put it out like 2 weeks and be like, because
Yeah.
I want to be able to listen to it on Spotify.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I don't care about everything else. I want to be able to hit it when I'm having a bad day and listen. And this one, it's probably going to kill me to wait this long, knowing that there's better music made that's not out.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was just old music. I just wanted it out, and it was a catharsis experience of just like getting rid of it,
Yeah, it's like
this around for 10 years.
It's like a job completion thing.
Yeah, just get that out of my hard drive, out of my life. I want to do something new.
Yeah, no, I like that.
So that's what the next album is. It's
So
all
Trash
new
Baby
stuff.
is all new,
Yeah,
right? Okay, I like that.
it's pretty
Well,
wicked.
I don't want to. We can't be diving into it because
I don't blame you. Yeah,
this will be out before that releases. So I feel if
Right.
it was like if you said like, oh yeah, May 5th, I'd be like, let's talk about it because this is gonna be out like
right.
towards the end of May. But like, yeah, I don't want to give anything away. So like, but I guess is it genre fluid again?
No, it's strict grunge.
Strict grunge. Okay, just a
Yeah, a
strict
little bit
grunge.
of alt rock in there, but it's actually one of the only albums I have that's consistent front to back.
Yeah. Okay.
And I am doing something kind of cool. Speaking of marketing, I haven't seen anybody do this. For every 10 supporters that I get on it, I'm putting another track on it. So it could be 12 tracks. It could be 30. I really don't care.
Wait, say that again. For every what?
Every 10 supporters that buy the album on Bandcamp,
Yeah, you're gonna add a track.
add a bonus track.
I like that. That's cool. That's like an interactive thing.
Yeah,
You know?
so you can help grow this trash baby.
Yeah,
Help me raise her.
that's amazing. I'm gonna be pre-ordering this right away.
I love it.
Boy, that's awesome. So I want to ask about because I another song that I heard. So today I went back and I'm like, there's more music on here. Echoes from an Empty Heart.
Yeah, that's new.
Yeah, that's a new song too.
Yeah, and the sound quality is very on par for what Trash Baby will be, just less vicious.
Okay. Yeah, I dug this track. It was
Thank you.
again, it brought me back to like this could be on the radio right now if radio was good again.
Right.
You know? And I mean, listen, I still listen to the radio. When I leave my house to go to work, my dog has the radio on. You know, she's listening to the alt rock, classic rock station all night long, you know, up until
I
when
try,
get
but it's
home.
always Linkin Park.
Oh yeah.
I cannot listen to any more of that.
You know what I noticed that the one local here, the one in Worcester, Massachusetts, and a shout out to the 100 FM The Pike because I have friends that work there. I have buddies on the morning show, and you know, I know some of the other people that work there. So, but like I noticed like after like midnight, you'll start getting like the deep cuts from like even like classic rock songs, you know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, I really like this. So like when I'm working doing like when I'm sitting at this computer doing all the stupid editing I have to do, I'm usually listening to the radio for a while because like it helps in like, and I don't have to like stop it when I'm trying to listen to something else. I can just hit like the my monitor button and listen to what's going on. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
But like I mean, I'm constantly listening to music. Like it's always so the radio. So I even have what's this Sirius XM, and like I don't use it often, but like I got it for like $3 a month, and I'm like, and it was like 3 years. I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. You know, and I'll pay it all up front. You know what I mean? So every once in a while, I'll hop on there. It's cool because I've heard Friends songs on there, like on Faction Punk or on what is the Garage Station or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's cool because like it's like a badge of honor when I hear a Friends song on the radio.
I know them. Here for it.
Yeah. All right, so Trash Baby is Echoes from an Empty Heart is similar to what Trash Baby is gonna be as far as sound. You say
Quality. I'd say
sound
Trash
quality,
Baby is a
sound
lot
quality,
sludgier.
Yeah. Trash Baby is gonna be a lot sludgier.
Mm-hmm.
Who does all your artwork? Like, do you take all these photos and stuff?
Me.
You do? Yeah.
Went to graphic designer. I have fun with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that kid has the bluest eyes of like.
In that album, Wicked, so that was actually inspired by like Nirvana's album where they threw the baby in the pool.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we sound like, angry Nirvana in this.
Yeah.
Angrier. So why not just like nod back to the old grunge? But
No doubt.
to be honest, if I had a favorite grunge band from the time, it'd probably be Alice Donut, not Nirvana.
Yeah. What about playing music out live? Do you play shows and stuff?
I'd love to. I can't find a reliable band.
Yeah,
so I just track everything myself and enjoy it,
So where are you in the country?
In the middle of a cornfield in Indiana, essentially.
Oh yeah,
I hate this place.
So is there a music community there? Or not? Yeah.
Not really.
No.
I mean, there are musicians, but none of them that like take it as seriously
I've
as I
seen
do that I've
about a
met.
venue once or twice. The same. I've seen like a similar. Like it seems like it's the same venue you've posted. Like I've seen posts on Instagram about.
Yeah.
There's
a small scene. That's just.
Yeah.
A lot of people are kind of toxic from what I found, or they're not very serious about their music, or they just want to play covers. And I can't find a band that actually wants to like learn the music, practice it, and like be a band. They just want to make money gigging.
Yeah, right.
Like you're not going to make money if you're not freaking interesting.
Takes
You're just going to be playing like
yeah.
BG covers the rest of your life. Is that what you want? And
I mean, look, there is an art to cover out cover bands, but like, and you do make money doing cover bands, but like, it's hard to flex your creativity muscles.
Yeah. I would be miserable. And I know it's for some people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, I want to be an icon. I don't want to be playing bars where half the people in there are chewing on a corn pipe. You know what I mean?
We got to get you out of that cornfield.
Yeah, it's horrible. I need to get out of here.
If you could go anywhere to pursue music, where would you go?
My goodness. I'd probably leave the States, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd probably head over to like the UK. They seem to like me a lot over there.
Yeah.
It seems to be a better just kind of culture.
UK and Europe definitely hold the arts in a higher regard.
Yeah, yeah, and they're pretty much trying to erase me right now in America. So why stay?
I know. Hopefully that gets rectified soon, though.
Hopefully,
Hopefully.
but I'll tell you, it's a great time to be making grunge music.
Yeah, I know it's a great time just to put it all out there,
Right.
Like and just let all that anger out, But yeah, all right. So Trash Baby comes out in June. Is there going to be any singles between now and then?
Oh, 100% guarantee it.
Yeah.
At some point, I will stay up till 4 a.m., make something, and be like, here it goes.
Right on. I'm sure at some point during that night we'll be having a conversation because, like I said,
Right.
like you're the only other person I know that's up at that.
Literally, yeah.
I'm up there,
I went to bed like 6 a.m. for like the last week.
Yeah, that's the earliest I'll go to bed because I work. I get home at 7 a.m. So like 6 a.m. is like, oh, I'm going to bed early tonight.
Right, but I love it. Like that's how I finished it. Like everybody's like, "How are you producing so much music?" It's 'cause I'm making it when you freaks are asleep.
Yeah, no. So I had finished my. I think you and I talked about this a little bit, but like I finished my last writing project at it was like 5 a.m, and like I was having like a weird situation happen earlier in the day, and I thought I was okay, and then I was like, I don't think I'm really okay. So I went back to this writing project that I was like kind of just piecing together over the last several years, and then I was like, it's time to finish this. So I just like wrote like 3 or 4 more essays for it, and then just like and I was like, I think I'm good,
Right.
So yeah, but you get a lot done. You get a lot done at night.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't seem clear-headed, but I'm ADHD too, so in the day I'm like medicated and focused and like doing my thing, and at night it's just like the chaos gremlins come out and they're like, hee, let's make stuff.
Yeah, I've learned I try not to take my ADHD medicine except for days I work because it definitely like makes me it makes me a better person first of all, but like I am less like when I take it.
Yeah.
So like sometimes I'm like, oh, and then I don't like, and then I'm like, well, I don't really want to build a dependence on this. So like on my days off, I just won't take it sometimes. But
I feel that.
That's how I learned.
If I do that, I just sit on the couch all day.
Yeah, sometimes
I'm tired.
happens. Yeah. Well, one time, like I ate up my dosage, and like all of a sudden, I felt like I was like, man, I can't get up in the mornings, and then like I'm like, is it this? So like for like 2 days, I didn't take it, and I slept like 20 hours. I'm like, okay, can we go back down? I'd rather go back down the dose, and I don't even think it's the actual medication. I think it's like the additives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, because it's the difference between the 20 milligram and the 30 milligram. Like there's it's a different texture and everything. So I was thinking that it's probably the additives in it.
That'd be something to look up.
Yeah. So who knows? I don't know. I'm not a
me.
doctor. I'm not a doctor. I don't work for. I'm not a pharmacist. I just take the medication they tell me, and then I take some. Sometimes they don't tell me to take. You know.
Dr. Anarchy at your service.
That has to be an album.
I know that's gonna be the next one now. I need a doctor outfit.
Yeah.
That makes me think of that Blink 182 album.
Oh, yeah. You would do it way better though.
I'd hope so.
I think you would make it the concept art of it would be way better. So.
The art's so important to me, and like, a lot of people sleep on it.
Yeah.
I've used AI to help with that because sometimes I'm just releasing so fast. I'm just send it.
Yeah.
But like usually nowadays, I just spend more time on it because it's like the first impression of your music. It's so important. And
It
a lot
really
of
is.
people will just use like a crappy cell phone photo of like their whatever is next to them, and they don't even care.
Yeah.
Tells
I
me
did that
a
with the
lot.
when I first started the podcast in 2017. Our photo was like this shitty picture I took on my phone of like a pop filter screen and like a microphone, and there was like a art. It was like a painting of Bill Murray in the background, and it looked so bad because it was just not a good picture. So when I relaunched, I actually like went and paid someone to make me a graphic. Yeah, I was like, hey, I need a graphic. This is my idea, and they took with it and they made our awesome logo that we have. And you know, so same thing. Like if you can kind of see in the back here, there's like a next to the yellow record there.
Mm-hmm.
That's our logo for the turntable episodes we do. And again, I went to an artist and I said, I got this weird idea. What can you do with it? And he came up with this amazing thing that we have. So yeah,
that's a blessing, is if you are an artist too, and like you can promote yourself with your art. Like everything I do kind of crosses over, and I'm blessed for that. But like other musicians, well, I don't know how to take a video. I'm like, open your phone and sing your song.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need. Honestly, people don't even want produced content anymore. Everything I post that I put effort into, like video wise, falls flat. But if I just take a cell phone video of me like blabbing into about my day, that'll go viral.
Yeah, it's weird how that stuff works. It's weird how that stuff works. Yeah, I
People
always
just want
say
to feel
like
connected.
I'm like, yeah. My biggest thing is like just I love albums. Like I love everything we talked about earlier, and like a lot of people just do singles because like that's what gets attract. Like if you, and you probably know this, but like if you post a single once a month on Spotify, you'll get more streams that way than you would if you put out like this like a banger of an album.
Yeah.
But if you have those singles too and then put out an album, it's all a marketing thing.
Well, I think that's the biggest problem. Most artists don't market. So they're just relying on algorithmic, With an album, you've got so much variation in style and sound, it doesn't even know where to put you for probably 6 months of streaming. It learns your listeners. Another thing people are doing, putting their music in playlists. I don't do that.
Yeah, they just like make a playlist and throw their stuff on there.
Well, they'll pay for it, or they'll just throw it out to anyone on Threads making a playlist. And
so is it like I guess what my old ass would say, like a compilation? Like if I went and bought like a compilation that had a bunch of bands on it, like it's just a playlist though.
Yeah, like on Spotify, you can follow a playlist. Well, people will play to get their placements on there. They'll pay to get their placements on there so they can get 10,000 streams on their song because it's a busy playlist.
Interesting.
They don't think about what they're doing, or they'll just pay to be put on a bunch of them. And I know someone myself that I was helping them get their music heard better, and they were like, I don't understand what's going on. So I looked at the playlist they were on, and it's like death metal, right? And they're in a playlist with Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, like you're getting skipped. And then Spotify's going, oh, this sucks, because people are skipping it.
Yeah.
But realistically, it's just not paired up well with Britney Spears.
Right.
You got to kind of think about where you're putting your music.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. See, I don't because I don't do that, like get into that whole streaming thing. I never even really thought about that.
Yeah.
That's definitely
the best thing to do is put it on there and don't touch it.
You just leave it and
stop trying to force it. Walk away and go make money on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Let the people that don't want to pay go there, and they can tell their friends, and hopefully the people that do want to pay find you.
I get so mad when a band doesn't put their stuff on Bandcamp, but mainly because I want to buy it. You know what I mean? Right. I'm like, hey, I want to give you money. I'm like, let's do it this way. I'm just gonna I'm gonna Venmo you $15. Just send me the MP3s. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm all about that. Like, I think my Bandcamp is up to like, where are we at? Let's take a peek. We are at 798 titles in my Bandcamp right now.
Wow, that's pretty good.
I try, and it's all over the map. Everything is just like all over the maps.
Right. My biggest problem with Bandcamp is the disconnect, because most people do use Spotify because they're not musicians, right? They don't have the same passion that we might have towards it or urge to support in that way. Maybe they just want to listen.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not mega fans yet.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it's important for artists to do both, because somebody that isn't a mega fan can easily become one once they deep dive your catalog. But you got to find an incentive to get them to Bandcamp. So for me this time, like I'm trying, like the supporters get extra songs. The more you purchase the album, the more I'm going to put on it. I have about 22 of them done. But if you don't support me, I'll just throw them in the trash.
Yeah, I hear you.
No difference to me. And then I can move on to the next album, and I know nobody's interested.
Right.
But if I sell more of them, I'll go back and work on it.
Yeah. It's a smart way of doing it for sure. We're
gonna try it. It might blow up in my face. Who knows?
So is there any outlook for, like, do you have anything in the works for getting a band together to do live music?
I've gotten sick of chasing people around.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be the manager.
Yeah.
If I can find a band that's a family, like bands used to be. I remember growing up, I had a band. More than a few bands, and we were all tight, and we always listened to each other's stuff, and we played each other's stuff. But everything I do now, it's like, people are like, well, it's your band. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah. I've met a few people now who, like, so they're the project. And like when they can have a band, they do, and they might have different iterations of that band, and that seems to work pretty well. Because that helps you out as far as like, all right, maybe this time I'm going to be doing like a solo show or something. You know what I mean? Like it gives you more versatility when being able to play out.
I did try that, and all that got me is I want paid to practice.
Jesus.
Then practice at home.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know the music, I ain't paying you jack.
Yeah. There's like my hometown, like we were talking about what you were saying earlier, cover bands, right? That's all my hometown used to be.
That's
And
it.
like now they're starting to get more, which is awesome. They're starting to get more like original musicians in there. And
Yeah.
but like I knew somebody who was in a pretty successful cover band for that area, and then the band stopped. And they everyone went on to do different things, and then they ended up getting back together because like no one wanted to hear the other. Like you have such a big fan base for this one cover band, but like the singer went to do something else, and no one wanted. Like I'm like, come on, support the guy for Christ's sake, like But,
I do enjoy cover bands, but I don't know. I just playing somebody else's stuff doesn't hit me.
There's two things I like about it, if a cover band can do this. One, if a band say that's like a death metal band. Like turns around and does a cover song, and they sound exactly like that band. That's cool. But I also want to hear like the death metal version
Right.
of
That's what I
said
want to
song.
hear. Like I did The Man Who Sold the World, and I just made it heavy as all get
Yeah,
out.
yeah. I heard your cover of House of the Rising Sun. I liked that a lot.
Oh yes, that was so much fun. I didn't do a lot with the music, but the way I sang it, I think gave it a lot of edge.
Yeah, and you put a lot of like theatrics into your expressions when you were singing that one too. I feel like
that I can't help.
No, well, that it's
just
awesome.
happens,
That's a Well, that's a performer mindset, or you know what I mean. Like that's something that like I feel sometimes if people knew how to do that, like they would go so much further with their music.
Well, that's like I got in this argument with the last group I was trying to put a band together with, and we ended up splitting up. But they were like, well, why don't you just pick up a guitar and play? Well, and then I ended up having to play the bass for a while, and I was like, I'm miserable. I can't perform like this. I want to be in people's faces, screaming at them. I don't want to be sitting here tied to a microphone pole. I'm a mic in hand kind of girl.
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest hit. But I grew up with like Manson.
Yeah.
Like shows.
Yeah, theatrics were a big deal. Yeah. Part of the thing. Yeah.
That's why I remember these people.
Yeah.
So for me and my marketing strategy, that's part of it. Like,
yeah, Rob Zombie was another one that was big on that, and Trent Reznor, and yeah.
Yeah, one of my oldest bands that I love is the Bauhaus.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard them.
I don't think I'm familiar with that one. No.
One of the OG like goth bands, but they have these beautiful lyrics and like their theatrics. They pretty much invented goth, in my opinion. But
yeah.
Get mad at the messenger.
I got something I'll send you after this. It's like a gothy, spooky, like post-punk band.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'll send it to you right after this.
That sounds fun.
All right, so hopefully you can find a band. Because I feel like playing out live would do well with your music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I will. It's just a matter of like people need FOMO.
Yeah.
So once I have the following, or the cult as they call them, I call my fans a cult. I always joke around. I'm like, hey, I want to start a cult that I think I accidentally did.
Yeah.
Side tangent. Like literally, I get the strangest messages now. Like at least 15 times I've had somebody ask me if I'm a reincarnated cat goddess, and I'm like, what? Which one?
Right on.
Yeah, and you're just like, okay, but I lean into it. I post it, and like,
yeah.
people think I'm AI. Like I'm not a real person.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, you're fake. You're not real. We can tell from your eyes. So I started using this crazy like eye contact thing built into my webcam. And it makes them go like all crazy.
So you just lean into it.
And I'm just like messing with them.
I think I saw a video with that. Like,
Yeah.
and you had like sparkles going on like around. And,
Oh yeah, I just do weird stuff. I'll glitch the thing out on purpose just to like mess with people.
Yeah.
I mean, they're telling you what's about to go viral for you, so lean into it.
Oh, that makes sense. That's cool.
Plus, I'm a little chaos gremlin.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so where can people find you? Websites, social media handles? Are you on streaming everywhere? All that stuff?
I'm all over the place. If you type Alice Anarchy into Google, there's like 4 pages of places to find me.
Cool. And then the label, what's the website for the label?
RocketRebelRecords.com. Starting to keep that more updated, so I'm going to be doing blog write-ups on all the newest releases. And like
even that's tough, man. I try to keep my website updated too, and it's like everything's a daily chore. It's like literally like it's a full-time job, like more full-time than a regular full-time job because you're constantly having to do everything, you know?
Complaining like, well, do you want new music or new blogs?
Yeah.
Like, I only got enough time for one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now, I want to ask before we go. So like I said, I've seen you post quite a bit about a venue around. I'm assuming it's around where you live. It may not be the same.
Hot Boys, probably.
Yeah, I think so. So. So do you are you like a promoter for there or?
Believe it or not, it's a chicken shop.
Like hot chicken, like Prince's Hot Chicken, but just called Hot Boys.
It's the most amazing chicken you've ever ate. They're based out of California, but they have a few like nationwide, I think. And
they do shows.
The owner does. He's wild. It's this tiny little city chicken shop. Like you bump on elbows, and he'll bring a band in, like a full metal band, and they're taking up half the restaurant and put on a show.
That's awesome. That's cool. That's cool that the owner does that.
It's pretty wild because he leaves the chicken shop open. So people are ordering with like a metal screamer in their face.
Hell yeah.
And it's awesome. And they're like, what the heck is going on? And then, so I'm producing a show with them called Sound Bites. And so that'll be coming online. I'm not sure when, probably in about a year or so. But
okay.
It's kind of like, episodic show. So it's full video, audio. I'm running sound. Got my big old mixer. And I just do it by myself, which is a challenge in and of itself. But I don't know if you've ever run audio for a band, but tack that on with 3 cameras and it gets a little crazy.
I can barely run audio for my podcast, so I've never done it for a band. I remember I went to a show one time and they were like, "Hey, can you make sure everything's good?" And I was just like, I'm like, I can hear you. Is that what you want to know? Yeah.
I've learned a ton on that end, like how to tell, like. It's just like your ears got to train to it. It's experience, but super cool thing to do. Really cool opportunity. I'm excited for him to launch. It's gonna make a wicked cool little show, like that's a tiny desk kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've done stuff like that. We had something I put on it like a little. Well, I guess it's a pretty decent size like art theater house, and like I put on a little show in one of their smaller rooms, and we sold it out and stuff, and it was kind of like tiny desk meets like inside the actor's studio.
I like that.
So there was like conversation and like discussion, and then there was music at the same time. Yeah, so.
That's what this kind of is. They do like a little podcast portion.
Hell yeah!
And they all eat chicken, and like it was actually pretty wild. The other day, he calls me up and he's like, "Hey, the last minute thing. I'm so sorry, but Rey Mysterio, or sorry, Dominic Mysterio, WWE guy, and Connor Daly, the IndyCar driver." I don't do sports, as you can tell. Are going to be here eating my chicken and doing a hot chicken challenge.
The two, like, how does that happen?
I have no clue. But he's like, "Hey, you want to come film it?"
A wrestler, it's like a bad joke. A race car driver and a wrestler walk into a chicken shop.
It is. And I didn't know who either one was. So I ended up walking up to the race car driver. I was like, "You're not the wrestler, are you?" Like, I don't know what's going on. But there's like a video on my page of me just talking about drifting Subarus with the IndyCar driver.
I did see that. Yeah, okay, all right, yeah.
And I got to meet Dominic, which was really cool. Super laid back guy. Even though his character's like a heel, and like WWE, he's like the bad guy.
Yeah.
You don't mess with Dominic.
That's cool. That's awesome. All right, so well, listen, when it's time to release more when the next release comes, hit me up. We can do this again. We can talk about, we can dive into the album. I'm excited to hear it. I can't wait for it. And just keep doing what you're doing. I love your stuff. And you're doing well with the social media because, like I said, that's how I found you. That's how I find a lot of people nowadays is through the social media.
Yeah. What's the modern MTV, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
The thing is, a lot of artists just don't even realize that, the power it has. The last thing I'll say is go build your community. Like, that's what I did.
Right.
I'm not the biggest artist in the world, but the people that like know my music, they love me. They fight for me, and that's because I do the same for them.
That's awesome. Fair enough. Yeah, that's cool. That's good advice. So, well, again, wish you nothing but the best, and I hope we can do this again.
Yeah, I would love to.
All right.
Thank you.